everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Senator Webb. We are here today to lift up the countywide effort that's happening in light of the federal government shutdown, and specifically the impacts on an essential program that we all know and are familiar with, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP. Most certainly, this program provides access to food for our children, seniors, individuals who are disabled, working families, and many others. The current state of this program and the withholding of funds most certainly continues to create significant barriers to an essential human need, and that is most certainly for food. We all know that no family, no individual should have to choose between putting food on the table, paying a utility bill, just to have the ability to simply survive. And here in Tompkins County, I'm so pleased to be joined by so many incredible community leaders from Tompkins County government to our nonprofits and many others who are standing together, making sure that any of our residents here in Tompkins County who are in need, but also making sure that the community is aware of the coordinated efforts to ensure that no one goes hungry here in Tompkins County. We know in Tompkins County that SNAP is not a luxury, it is not an abstract policy, it is most certainly an essential need. For every one meal that a number of our partners here help to support, SNAP covers 9 of those meals. I'm happy that the governor and all of us in the state legislature here in New York have moved into action. Last week, Governor Hochul declared a state of emergency related to this essential program and allocated more than $100 million to support this incredible and necessary program that is improving the lives of many people. Just to break down that $100 million, $65 million was allocated to support food banks, pantries, and soup kitchens, $40 million for the program known as HIPNAP, or the Hunger Prevention and Nutrition Assistance Program, which serves more than 2,700 emergency food providers. $25 million for Nourish New York, which connects surplus food from our New York farms, and most certainly we have a lot of great farmers here in Tompkins County that provide food to the many families that are in need. We also know that the steps that we've taken as a state are just a temporary measure, because we know that federal action is needed. And so it is imperative that the federal government fully restores funding to SNAP. This is one of the most effective anti-hunger programs in our nation's history. My office, in conjunction with Assemblymember Kelles' office, and many of the partners you see here, and those who are gathered and those who weren't able to be here today, are working with some of our local partners, including the Food Bank of the Southern Tier. Most certainly the Community Foundation here in Tompkins County, Tompkins County DSS, all of our respective partners that are on the ground providing supports. We know that it is imperative that no person goes hungry, and so we are calling upon our federal leaders to fully fulfill its responsibility to the American people. We also know that it is imperative for the community to know what resources are available, not just simply during this SNAP crisis, but also all the way throughout the year. And so our office, we have compiled a list of resources, and I know all of the partners here are going to share where people can go to get assistance, but it is imperative that we continue to work together, and I'm so confident and appreciative of everyone here and their ongoing commitment to making sure our communities are taken care of here in Tompkins County. We also know at the same time that the weather is becoming more inclement, and that families rely upon, we all rely upon having access to utilities. And so at the same time, while we are seeing historic changes to SNAP, we also know the Home Emergency Energy Assistance Program, known as HEAP and LIHEAP, federal funds for those programs have been cut. And most certainly here in New York, we have allocated during our budget process funding supports for that important program. And one of the other things that is happening as we're trying to not only address the need for food, but also more affordable access to utilities, I've joined with AARP, also the Public Utility Law Project, and issuing a letter to the governor to push for, while this SNAP crisis is happening, that we try to fund any additional supports needed for this important program. And if that is not possible, then as a state, we should most certainly implement a statewide moratorium on utility service terminations for NYSEG and all of our essential utility companies that are providing services until heat is restored. I want the community here in Tompkins County to know that the efforts that are being lifted up today, I want everyone to know that you are not alone. There are a number of great folks who are working tirelessly around the clock to make sure that no one goes hungry. And so it's important that we communicate what those resources are. And so without further ado, I would like to welcome to the podium Mary, who is the Chief of Staff for my esteemed colleague in the state legislature in the Assembly, Assemblymember Kelles, to provide some remarks from her. Please join me in welcoming Mary Holland Davis.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. The Assemblymember wishes she could be here today, and I'm here to share her concern and deep appreciation for Tompkins County as we step up in this moment. Thank you all for being here, and thank you to Senator Webb for putting this all together, and to the Food Bank of Southern Tier and our amazing partners that are here today who work every day to make sure no family in Tompkins County goes without the support that they need. Speaking of needing support, we are now 36 days into the federal shutdown. We are on track to becoming the longest in US history. And because of the decisions made by the Trump administration, nearly 3 million New Yorkers began November without the SNAP benefits that they rely on. Here in Tompkins County, that means more than 4,700 households, over 7,200 residents are now at risk of losing access to the food assistance they rely on in the weeks ahead. Last week, a federal court ordered the administration to continue funding the program, but this week we learned that even if payments resume, they will be at half payments with long delays before they see even that. For decades, under both Republicans and Democratic administrations, there was an understanding that food access is not political, it's fundamental. And yet somehow, families here in Tompkins County are now stuck in a political tug of war just trying to feed their kids. It's absurd and it needs to stop. Here in Tompkins, SNAP isn't a number on a spreadsheet or some abstract concept. Thousands of residents rely on it every month. It's groceries, it's school lunches, it's stability for families across the county. My daughters are 6 and 4, and they ask for snacks almost constantly, because that's what kids do. And the idea of any parent in Tompkins County having to tell their child, I'm sorry, we don't have any snacks for you today, makes me want to flip a table, but in the most professional, non-destructive way, of course. The Food Bank of the Southern Tier and local pantries have already reported a significant increase in demand over the last few days, and that's just going to grow. They're doing everything they can, but they cannot fill the gap left by a suspended federal program. Assemblymember Kelles is grateful for Governor Hochul's decisive action last week in declaring a state of emergency and moving over $100 million in emergency food assistance, but it's not sustainable. The state of New York cannot replace SNAP. We need the federal government to restore full funding immediately. Tompkins County is fortunate to have strong, coordinated local partners, the Food Bank of the Southern Tier, local pantries, mutual aid groups, and so many others who are working together to meet the need and connect families to the resources. But they shouldn't have to shoulder that burden alone. On top of the SNAP crisis, the shutdown has also stalled HEAP, the Home Energy Assistance Program, leaving thousands of Central New York families uncertain on how they will heat their homes as the temperature drops. Last winter, HEAP delivered over $287 million in assistance statewide. This year, because of the shutdown, the program has been indefinitely delayed. Assemblymember Kelles joins PULP and AARP in urging the state to open HEAP immediately and temporarily fill the gap until federal funds return. And if the program cannot be open as scheduled, the only responsible step is to implement a statewide moratorium on utility shutoffs for all residential and gas customers until HEAP is fully restored. We need urgency, we need accountability, and we need compassion for the families caught in the middle of this shutdown. The truth is, SNAP touches almost every corner of our community. It impacts our neighbors, our coworkers, our classmates, even the barista Gimme who has memorized your coffee order. SNAP is used by people you know, probably even more than you know. So if the shutdown is causing stress in your household, you are absolutely not the only one. Call our office, call Senator Webb's office. You'll learn about a few more amazing resources that we have in this community from our awesome, wonderful partners who are stepping up. And we'll all help you get answers and support that you need. No one should be left guessing how they're gonna feed their family. So on behalf of Assemblymember Kelles, thank you to the partners standing with us today and for the work that you're doing every single day to help support our community. Thanks.
Next, I would like to bring to the podium someone who I have worked with since being in the Senate, but also a great Tompkins County legislator and leader. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Shauna Black, Tompkins County legislator.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to Senator Webb for asking me to say a few words about the recent stoppage of SNAP benefits here in Tompkins County. For many families, seniors, and individuals, SNAP is not just a support program, it's literally a lifeline. It provides a little less stress at the end of the month and the ability to focus on work, school, and family without the constant worry of how to put food on the table. The loss of these benefits has a profound impact on our community, from increased demand at local food pantries to higher levels of hardship among our most vulnerable residents. It reminds us that food insecurity is not just something that we see in faraway countries. It's here, it's in our neighborhood, in our schools, and across every part of our county. I want to express my deep gratitude to Assemblywoman Kelles and Senator Lea Webb for their steadfast commitment to our community. They have been amazing advocates in Albany, working to ensure that every New Yorker, regardless of income or circumstance, has access to nutritious, affordable food. Their dedication to equity, dignity, and compassion represents the very best of public service, and we are so lucky to have them. Together, we are stronger. Thank you to our nonprofit organizations who continue to help the people of Tompkins County. You are the true hero, and when our people are in a bind, you step in and take care of us. We must continue to raise our voices and push for strong, reliable support systems that ensure no one in Tompkins County ever goes hungry. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring to the podium another great Tompkins County leader and legislator. Please join me in welcoming Tompkins County legislator Deborah Dawson.
Thank you, Senator. I don't have any prepared remarks, just a couple of things that I'm asking you to think about. I read an article in the Atlantic recently that said that 40% of SNAP recipient households end the month with less than a $1 balance on their EBT cards. Think about that. Think about having a family and a household and knowing that you only have $1 and then finding out that your own federal government has decided not to send you any money for food in the next month. That's what we're facing. And it's not just SNAP recipients. As a decades-long federal employee, I think about all the federal employees who've been furloughed, the ones that are still working at civilian and military jobs who aren't getting paid. We're seeing them in our food banks as well. So this is not just a SNAP issue. And while everyone will talk about what the state government, the county government, and our local not-for-profits are doing, their heroic efforts, remember too, you as an individual resident of Tompkins County are a member of a larger community, and it's up to you to support other members in the community that are going hungry. So please consider, if you can, donating money to your local food bank or a food pantry. Don't take food because you pay retail. Give them money, they can buy much more for the money that you give because they pay wholesale. And then another thing you can do is call your local food bank or food pantry and ask if they need volunteer assistance. I know a lot of them are running on, a shortage of volunteers, and they don't have the ability to stress those volunteers further to open for longer hours. So that's something else that you can consider doing to help. So thank you, because I know as a community you will all step up. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for your remarks, Deborah. And next, I'd like to bring up, again, one of our leaders in county government, Brittany Earl, who is the Commissioner of the Tompkins County Department of Social Services, to lift up not only how this issue is impacting residents here in Tompkins County, but efforts that they are undergoing to support many families here in Tompkins County. So please join me in welcoming Brittany Earl.
Thank you, Senator Webb. So a lot has already been discussed, and I want to say that your support for our community is so critical, and we appreciate that so much on behalf of the county, the administration, the department, and all of the folks that we serve. So it's been mentioned that here in Tompkins County, over 7,200 individuals rely on SNAP, and I think it is so critical to stress how important programs like SNAP, but also HEAP are to our community and the residents who rely on them. They are a critical support for access to food security, for heating and warmth. And here in Tompkins County, we are working very closely with all of our local partners, including the Food Bank of the Southern Tier, the Community Food Coalition, and our local food pantries, and our local transportation services like TCAT, to ensure that emergency food, like food boxes, and volunteers, and transportation barriers to food, like transportation, are accessed, and that people can get the critical support that they need. And I really, again, just want to stress how critical the programs like SNAP and HEAP are. So continued support to help any support and access to these services is critical, and we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brittany, for your work. Next, I'd like to bring up to the podium another great leader working to support our beloved seniors here in Tompkins County. Please join me in welcoming Lisa Monroe, Tompkins County Office for the Aging.
Thank you. I don't really have a lot to add to what already has been said, but I do want to say thank you, because I feel like some of this information hasn't reached the people that it's intended to reach and who are actually going to be impacted. So we're working really closely with Brittany and her team at DSS to find some creative solutions for people that are older adults and maybe more vulnerable, that can't make it to the food banks, don't have the transportation, and also sending them some prepared meals, because a lot of times people that are homebound, it's not just about access and transportation, but they actually can't cook the meals. So we're trying to work to do those things. Some of the things that we're seeing in our office, as far as calls, are more about HEAP at this point. So I think the SNAP information is really needs to be elevated, that's happening. Sometimes they don't know that until they use their EBT card. So this is very important, but we're doing our best to get to folks that need the help that it's really desperate, critical situations for people, especially with health insurance struggles. We're in the middle of open enrollment right now. Tompkins County has lost a lot of their Medicare Advantage plans with Kelles, so costs are increasing on so many levels. So I just want to make sure that people know that we're there, we're helping people the best we can. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to bring to the podium Rebecca Hinton, United Way of Tompkins County. She is the Director of Community Impact. We know how essential of a role that our philanthropic organizations play, not just as relates to SNAP, but just overall bridging the gap between needs and support services in our community. So please join me in welcoming Rebecca.
Hello. United Way of Tompkins County mobilizes communities to action so that all people can thrive. Food security is one of our highest priorities. In response to this temporary loss of SNAP benefits, UWTC is collecting donations and distributing proceeds to Tompkins County food pantries and distribution sites in an equitable manner. So far, we've already raised almost $7,000 in this effort that we just started at the end of last week. For more information on if you wanted to donate, community members can visit uwtc.org and you'd find all the information there. For people who prefer to do in-kind donations, we do have a bin at our 313 North Aurora Street office on the porch for shelf-stable food. As part of our long-term strategy to promote food security, we support more than 15 pantries, food distribution sites, and other organizations that provide food access in both rural and urban areas through our United Tompkins Impact Fund. When we come alongside our neighbors in need with locally rooted community-based organizations, we can meet the challenges of the moment. We look forward to the full restoration of SNAP benefits for our local residents in New York State and in the country. And we thank everyone here for inviting us to be here. Myself, our CEO Michael, and our CDO Gail appreciate that we could be here. And together we can create more avenues to support our residents through caring collaboration and generating resources for greater collective impact.
Our next speaker, also who comes from the philanthropic organizational community, who also wants to share some remarks, George Ferrari Jr. He is the CEO of the Community Foundation of Tompkins County. Please join me in welcoming George.
Thank you so much for bringing us together. The Community Foundation of Tompkins County, which is celebrating our 25th anniversary this year, we have a mission. We bring people and resources together so that we can build a more equitable Tompkins County. We do that by inspiring diverse philanthropy. We do that by catalyzing collaborations. And we also do that by championing inclusion and justice. And this is a justice issue. It is wrong that people are hungry in our society. They should have access to food. And SNAP, as imperfect as a program as it is, and we know it doesn't meet every need, needs to be reinstalled. So I want to encourage folks who are called to do something about this to contact United Way, Community Foundation. We have ways of receiving financial gifts, and we make grants to a lot of organizations like Loaves and Fishes, like Food Tent Meals on Wheels, like food pantries. And we also work together with other institutions to make sure that we can coordinate what we're doing so we can meet the challenges and needs in our community. And I really believe that this community has a unique position at believing in a sense of justice and inclusion and working to greater access for all people when we're challenged the way we're challenged right now. So I want to thank everyone for being involved, and thank you for bringing us together.
Our final speaker, but most certainly not in terms of significance and impact, as it has been stated, transportation access is critical for not only this program, but just overall quality of life. And so I want to thank and encourage folks to please join me in welcoming to the podium Tiffany Walker, who is the Assistant General Manager of TCAT. Tiffany.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate that. Good afternoon. I'm delighted to be here on behalf of TCAT and proud to be part of what has quickly become a comprehensive community-wide effort to assist households struggling to put food on the table without the supplemental support from the government. Tompkins County always shows generosity by coming together to support those in need. We've heard from all of our partners behind us that transportation is indeed a barrier. I'm happy to communicate that effective immediately, until SNAP benefits are reinstated, TCAT is offering free rides to EBT cardholders. This is to help folks travel to local food banks, community meals, grocery stores, and other support services in the county. Public transportation is an essential service, we know this. We want to make this easy for folks, so simply show your EBT card to our TCAT drivers, no questions asked. It'll be a free ride for you. You can count on that. I lost my place, I apologize. While this is a minimal financial impact to TCAT, it can have a profound impact, and we're excited to offer this to our community members. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiffany, for that announcement with regards to TCAT. And as we close the press conference today, again, I want to thank all of our partners that are here. From the most recent announcement by the Tompkins County Legislature of allocating $50,000 to provide direct food support to Tompkins County residents. Can we give the Tompkins County Legislature an round of applause on that? In addition to allowing us to host this press conference here in your chamber, again, I just want everyone that may be watching, and most certainly who will share information later, that the only way we can most certainly weather any storm, and that is through community. And so making sure that people have access to food, it is not only an essential need, it's just the right thing to do. And so I can't express enough my deep, profound appreciation to all of the partners that are here today, and again, those that weren't able to make it. We pulled this together, this coordinated effort. I appreciate everyone answering my calls, emails, just to make sure that we can stay in communication and community with each other for our community. Thank you so much for what you do every single day. People may not realize the extent in which people are working around the clock, and so that is why we wanted to have this press conference today, is to make the community at large aware of what resources are available. Tell your neighbor, tell a loved one, and even if it's something that you need, this is so important. So again, 211 is a resource, and thank you to the United Way of Tompkins County for being a resource for that. Most certainly the Food Bank of the Southern Tier, all of our food pantries, all of our partners here. This is something that is so important, and we are delighted to be able to support. And with that, we will take